Angel, if you could do those rules and regulation things again, you say them so well. And I always get,
Sure.
I'd appreciate.
Again, good evening, everyone. This is Angel Muscane, District Manager for Manhattan Community Board 11 and Staff Liaison to the Youth and Education Committee. Welcome to the committee's April 12th, 2022 meeting. Before handing it off to the committee chair, David Giordano, I want to share some ground rules. One, no one may speak until granted the floor. Two, CB11 members, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand through Zoom. If you click the participants icon, the participants panel should appear and you should find the raise hand function there. If you still have technical difficulty, you may click on the chat icon and relay that difficulty to me and I will try to assist. Chat function should not be used for CB11 business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. Chat should only be used to alert us of any technical difficulties you are having or to state in writing information like an email address that was already stated aloud on the record during the meeting. Please keep your questions and comments succinct and germane to the discussion. Members of the public, if you have a question or comment about the subjects on the agenda, please raise your hand through Zoom and wait to be recognized. David.
Oh, sorry, I had kids interacting coming in. So again, welcome everybody to April's 2022 Youth and Education meeting. We're so glad that everybody is here in the space. Again, just welcome for being here. We have a few presentations, so I'd rather move on to them and the informational updates than me being a soliloquy. Angel, is there any updates that we need to know about with the open laws meeting that people should know for the next meeting? Or I know you sent out an email, but you usually
I'll share that. Let me do the roll call, and then when we jump into infos, then updates, then I'll share what I was able to understand. So board members, when I call your name, please answer present. Leroy Andino. Yolanda Brown.
Present.
Angela Donadell.
Present.
David Giordano.
Present.
John Green.
Here.
Robert Harvey. Jada Heredia. Pat Martin.
Pat was here. I know I saw. Yes,
Yeah, I saw her name. Savasia Robinson.
President, I'm sorry, I'm having difficulties with my system.
No worries, Pat. We got you. Thank you. Savasia Robinson Teague. Natasha Rodriguez.
I'm here.
Isaac Scott. Russell Schuler.
Present.
Jason Villanueva. Jason Villanueva. We have quorum. Is it Wu? It's Wu. I'm sorry. Jason Wu. Sorry, Jason. I didn't write the last initial, threw myself off. Okay. Back to you.
Yeah, thank you again. So now we generally begin with our informational updates. Angel, why don't you go first? Because I don't see Dr. Christie unless she's in the other part of the meeting somewhere. I don't know.
Sure. So the next committee meeting is, the next meeting of this committee is scheduled for May 17th. As David was alluding to, there's been some changes and some updates to the open meetings law, the state's open meetings law, which is what has been allowing us to conduct our meetings remotely for the last couple of years. There was a change to the OML included in the budget, in the state's budget deal last week, which is not ideal, but at least we have what it seems like an extension of the period during which we're able to meet remotely. It's still kind of developing and I haven't seen the final language, but my understanding is for now, we'll be able to continue to meet remotely at least through June 8th of this year and likely through June of 2024, pending the specific details of that exception, of that extension. But for now, we'll continue to meet via Zoom for the remainder of April and for all of May. And we'll get back to everyone once we have a clearer picture in regards to the June meetings.
Thank you, Angel. So again, we will continue to operate in these East Harlem CB11 squares and continue to conduct our meetings. So we do have Dr. Christie. No, you're not late. Actually, you're just on time because we were going to move to you next. It is good seeing you again today, Dr. Christie. And just on a side note, things are working out for that situation we talked about earlier. So it all went well. So I'm here for the meeting.
I'm sorry,
David?
question.
Yeah, Natasha had a question. Yeah.
Does that mean that for full board we're remote, right?
Yes, we had booked something, but now since we're continuing to have permission to meet remote, I think we're just going to do it remotely.
Gives us a little more time for planning. I know, Angel, because it's
Yeah, but
coming.
I'll have to triple confirm that with the chair, but I think that's a very good guess that will be remote.
Thank you both. Thank you, Natasha. So Dr. Christie, informational update. The floor is yours.
Thanks, David. Hi, everyone. So it's so great to be in community with everyone. Sending love, prayers, and healing thoughts to everyone. This week has been, as everyone knows, just a really, a lot of tragedy going on. So just sending love, prayers, and healing thoughts to everyone that's impacted. My daughter lives in Brooklyn, so my oldest daughter, and so today it's been a day that has brought back a lot of memories for myself. So just, yeah, like I said, starting off with just love, prayers, and healing thoughts. Today, and I'm sure as everyone's seen, just to give some updates for a more comprehensive review, we are having our CEC meeting tomorrow, 6 o'clock. But we're really working and planning on Summer Rising. The portal should open on April 25th. As soon as we get the official list, we'll bring our community-based partners, our principals, our parent coordinators, and everyone together. Today we had a training for our paraprofessionals. We collaborated with districts 4, 5, and 6, but we had a UFT helped us with partnering to support our paraprofessionals. Yeah, a lot of great things going on in the district. And if you would like more details, tomorrow we are having our CEC meeting where we'll talk about just how we're approaching chronic absenteeism, more in depth about the Summer Rising and the portal. If any parents do have questions, they can reach out to the parent coordinator and or our family leadership coordinator, but we're here to support everyone. But the portal will not open until April 25th. Mandated students will need to go to their school sites. Yeah, and that's where we are, and just trying to wish everyone a happy and wonderful spring break and a time for everyone to rest and rejuvenate. And so, yeah, thanks, David, and thanks to everyone for being in community with everyone.
Thank you, and thank you, Dr. Christie, and I will definitely see you tomorrow at the CEC meeting. So thank you for always being in our space. So now we'll move to Rosa from CEC4, Rosa Diaz, who's the acting CEC president for CEC4. I've known Rosa for many years, worked with her, but more importantly, our kids have shared classrooms together, so we've got to know each other in that way as well. Rosa, welcome to CB11 Youth and Education.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for the invitation. I am here as acting president of the CEC4 because Caleres has stepped in as panel for education policy member. And as Dr. Christie mentioned, tomorrow we have our Community Education Council meeting at 6 p.m. I can share the information. Also, we currently have 3 spots available and encourage the parents in District 4 to apply. CEC4 supports 23 schools, most of you may know, and we provide information and guidance to support students achieve greatness. Also, we had drafted a resolution on expanded use of MetroCards from 5:30 a.m. till 9:30 p.m. and we'll provide a copy of the resolution once it passes tomorrow, hopefully, and most probably it will. Lastly, we will have information and a presentation from Include New York City tomorrow. For all families welcome, and they have a lot of workshops, trainings, webinars to support parents. Some of them include introduction to special education, understanding your child's IEP, advocacy skills for parents. I know it helped me a lot. Busing and specialized transportation, and a lot more trainings. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rosa. Any questions for Rosa or Dr. Christie before too? I forgot that part. Yes, hi. Welcome to Mr. Brew, please. Good to see you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me now in my new capacity. We all know each other from my prior adventure with the Manhattan Board President's Office, being your liaison. Thank you all for always making me feel welcome. I'm now the Director of Community Outreach with Union Settlement, and I'm now more local than ever. And I just wanted to make a couple of announcements. So as you know, we have all kinds
Okay,
of...
Matt, yeah, we got to follow the agenda. So we do have somebody next. Let's get on after.
David, I could barely hear you.
I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I'm just asking Mr. Brew just to wait till we finish with the informational updates, and then we'll give her a chance to make an announcement. So I'm sorry I missed that.
Perfect. Yes. I'm in 2 meetings, by the way. But
No, I understand. We'll get back. We'll be here for a while, so we're not going anywhere. But
cool.
I just want to stick with the agenda. We're really trying to stay on focus, and my members hold me accountable to the agenda. So I do want to stay with that. You know, you always have space, no matter where you work or whoever you work for in our community and the space. So let's go back to Rosa. If there are any questions for Rosa, if not, then we'll move on to Ms. Williams, our CEC 5 rep.
Hi, good evening. I'm sorry, I was on another meeting. Let me mute.
Zoom is real advantage, right? We could be in different meetings. Make sure you mute the meeting you shouldn't.
Let me tell you, I have a phone. I have 2 phones and 2 laptops going. It's insane. All right, good evening, everyone. So let me start out with RCC 5 Power Hour with the Chancellor for this month has been canceled, but next month it will be on Wednesday, May 18th from 12 to 1. Also, there is a huge inclusion expo that is going to happen with student voices ending idolism. So that should be interesting. You know, having students being more involved without being discriminatory towards their disabilities, whichever they might be, physical, mental, psychological, learning, etc. Right now, we are having a town hall with Chancellor Banks as we speak. About issues and concerns. However, I was on a town hall with him yesterday, and he spoke about the pilot program that is going to be coming soon for virtual learning. So that's going to be a good look for those students who had done well virtual. It will be an option. So that means everything will be virtual, the principal, the instruction, etc. Those students who want to continue it in person, they have that option. So I guess it's almost like a win-win, because I would presume that the classroom sizes will get smaller because a lot of children are probably going to opt for the virtual, especially the older children. We also have a personal development, professional development coming up for April the 28th, and that's going to be hosted by CEC 16 President Naquan McLear. about the annual superintendent and evaluation.
I'm here. Is everybody else here? Did we lose Ms.
Ms.
Gina?
Williams, can't hear you.
We lost you for a minute, Ms. Gina.
Located at 175 West 134th at 630. That's between Lenox and 7th. I do want to say that we had a great presentation from the Urban Assembly Academy for Future Leaders, the School on the Move, and they highlighted Principal Gates and all of his wonderful efforts that he has been doing with his staff. Talking about the school safety, how incidents had reduced 98%, and as an overall for the DOE as well. Virtual partnerships. Over the year, they have all staff that are trained at Hunter College with anti-racism organizations, equity in a whole. Partnerships consist with the Brotherhood Restored Young Men, Sisters Assistant Sisters to Succeed, which is great because we have a lot of programs for young men and maybe not as many as we really do think for young ladies, but this is great. The New York Historical Society, Generation Citizen. So over total, there's 32 successful partnerships happening in District 5, which is great. The leadership classes are based on 4 pillars of the social emotional awareness, goal setting, career, and college readiness, an intensive study for historical leaders and their styles. So they focused on the beautification of the school, how the environment affects the attitude towards school, and how the uniforms play a big part in that. And I do believe in that because you don't have too much of competing with the latest style, the latest fashion, who has this, who has that. You can focus more on your studies. So that is a great thing that's going on in the school. Also, their school has highlighted with a lot of wall art. And the students are amazing there. So they have canvas paintings, wall murals. I would encourage people to go visit Principal Gates at his school and admire all the artwork that they have going on. Now, because there is a small school setting, 100 plus students, Carnegie Mellon curriculum, seamless after school programs until about 6 o'clock, which is great because that gives parents enough time to head in from work if they're getting off at 5 without having to rush. So that's a good look right there. And let's see what else. Oh, the technology has been unchallenged because they have smart boards in every classroom, laptops for every class for every student. They have the Lego robotics going on and a swivel technology. So that's good. The participation with the government classes has been up. Students are very invested in their student government. That says a lot because then that means that they'll be our future leaders in this governmental institution that is bipartisan primarily. They have advanced Regents courses, algebra, college readiness, English, and the staff has been 100% on board, participating, helping throughout the whole pandemic and supporting Principal Gates. So that's about it for my report right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. It's really great to hear of all the collaborative partnerships and mentoring programs and stuff with kids because it's so important, particularly, as you said, as kids get older, they need those additional supports to stay connected to adults and programs. So thank you for sharing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
Are there any questions? We hope you don't get canceled for Chancellor Banks because we're going to be on that one. well.
I hope
Um,
not.
Yeah, any questions for Ms. Williams? Again, thank you, Ms. Williams, for your presentation. Thank you all for our educational space that we have here in our meeting. It is such an important thing to be informative and stay up to date on what's happening with our schools, how we can better serve parents. So thank you again for being here.
I have one
Also-
more
Yeah,
announcement. I'm
Yep.
sorry. Over the weekend, National Action Network had a huge convention for 3-4 days. So I am the chairperson for the education committee. What I did was I printed out information about the community education councils so that people will know when elections happen, what the positions are, put all the resource down and printed out all of the, as much as I could for high schools as well, the email addresses. So people will now start to hopefully become more engaged, be more willing to participate. I had the SLT and the PA information and the district leadership information out on the table. Also, I just want to say that it was so many people at that convention. It was a wealth of knowledge coming in and going out. And hopefully next year, maybe we can have the DOE there as a whole so that people will know what's going on in every district with education. Thank you.
Thank you again. So I don't see our new rep from the DA's office, so we will move on to Harlem Careers. Any updates for Harlem Careers? I don't hear from our Harlem Careers people, so. Angela, you have,
I'm here, and as I stated before, I haven't been updating it. Basically, I submit information. Eva still works the Harlem Career website. So by my understanding, things are still moving along and information is going out. Pat, do you have anything to say? Okay, so as we tell
Okay,
you all
good.
the time, go to the website, post on the website if you have information, and please follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Thank you.
Again, Harlem Careers is a local homegrown site to help provide resources to the community, to share resources. So again, it's there for the assistance of all the residents in the community. So we'll now move on to Mr. Brew. Where'd you go? Yes, where are you? And then we're going to move to our presentation. Maybe we're in another meeting. We'll come back. So I want to go a little out of order, and I apologize, Tiffany. I'd like to get Central on because I don't think we have a long presentation. They gave us a wonderful full presentation last month of all the wonderful service, education, how we want to work more closely in communicating with the community. We do want to look to how we get some students involved in Central too, but how important archiving and telling and maintaining the history and culture of Puerto Ricans in America, in the United States. So we do fully support. Again, I just want to apologize to Carlos and also Rosa if there was any misconfusion. We are here to support. So I'd rather you tell us the project, Carlos, and Tiffany, thank you. Just bear with me.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Buenas tardes. Thank you very much, Chairman Giordano, and all committee members for entertaining us again this evening. There was not necessarily any confusion at the outset. We were set to come to Community Board 11 and make the presentation that my colleague Rosa Cruz made last month. This is something that we have been doing with all community districts in the city, particularly those that have an above average representation of Hispanics in the district, particularly Puerto Rican neighborhoods. But this is an ongoing outreach effort that we are conducting on behalf of Centro, because even though we are a university-based institution, we know that a lot of the knowledge that we have and we contain, it doesn't always reach the people at the street level. right? So we want to make sure that this university-based knowledge is disseminated as broadly and as widely as we can possibly make it. And one way of doing so is by coming to the community districts, by coming to the community boards and informing the community of the resources that we have. We definitely want people to make use of our resources. Centro is one of the very few institutions within the City University of New York, particularly our library and archives, that are open to the public. Unlike any other library and archives within the City University of New York, you must be an affiliate of the university to gain access or ask for special permission. That is not the case for Centro. COVID has presented some challenges. Basically, people from the community, particularly in the East Harlem community, they have the opportunity because of the accessibility. This is where our library and archives reside to make use of our resources. So that was the gist of the presentation that my colleague Rosa and Sophia made last month. We are coming back here now because we are in the process of submitting a community project request from Congressman Adriano Espaillat. And because of the requirements, because of the ethical requirements that now the House Appropriation Committee has for all such community project requests, we need to get the support from the local community. We need to get support from elected officials. We need to get support from the community board, and that is what we are here for. We didn't know we needed so many letters of support from elected officials. We thought that letters of support from community-based organizations, etc., were enough, but no, they're making the point that we need letters of support from the community board, elected officials, etc. We have already obtained, such letters of support. Council member Diana Ayala has provided us with one. We have commitments from Assemblyman Gibbs and Senator Serrano to provide those letters of support. But now we are turning to the community board, the board that really captures the sentiment of the community, to see if the project that we are presenting forth for funding before the House of Representatives is worthy of support from the community. Basically, what we are trying to do a number of things. We are trying to not only continue to provide this community-oriented services that my colleague Rosa presented to you all last week. What we are trying to do is have a more concerted effort to bring in not only students, but also teachers, and provide other services such as cultural, historical preservation services, and the use of our library and archives more broadly and in a more targeted manner. We are also hopefully asking for funding from the federal government so that cafe space that exists at 119th Street and 3rd Avenue, that it already has exposure to the streets, can be habilitated, can be used as a community hub. We're calling it the Creative and Learning Hub at Centro. And it is for this reason that we are coming to the community board, to its education and youth committees for support. The deadline is tight. We didn't know we needed this many letters of support. And in fact, we actually had to begin submitting a lot of the application. We are holding out to the extent that we can, if we can get this letter of support from the community board 11. And and again, I'm happy to answer. I know this is last minute. I know that there may be a number of questions. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have for me.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you much for that additional piece and understanding. So are there any questions from the committee members in relation to this project? Again, I think it's a wonderful opportunity to expand the work that they do, but to, again, involve more students and also teachers, which expands the work and the knowledge, right, and the information. So are there any questions? Angel has a question and Rev Brown. I will go to Rev first and then Angel, if we don't mind. Rev?
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you so much for your presentation. I would like to know, what is the plan for outreach into the students and the teachers? And the only reason why I ask that question is because typically that's the ideal that's presented to us when various ones will come and seeking a letter of support. But then at the end of the day, there really isn't, for some, there hasn't been any thought out plan on how they were going to do this outreach. So what we find out a year or two in, that maybe 1%, if any, of our communities actually benefiting from the programs. So what is the plan for outreach for the students and or the teachers?
Part of the outreach, and thank you very much for that question, ma'am. Part of that outreach you have already witnessed in the presentation that my colleague made last month. We are going to all levels of community-based organizations. We are making a direct outreach to, for instance, community boards. We will be reaching out to after-school programs. We'll be reaching out to the local libraries. So, we already have a relationship with the Aguilar Branch Library. We hope to foster that relationship with the 125th Street Library. We're establishing contacts also and hopefully formulating joint programs with the Schoenberg Center, right? So we are using these nodules in which there are youth as well as teachers in order to, not only spread the knowledge of the resources that we have, but actually engage in programming. We also have already contacts. We also serve as a resource to the New York City Department of Education. A lot of the resources that we already have, for instance, our Cultural Ambassadors Program provides a number of courses that have been used by the New York City Department of Education for the professional development program. So, that is also another way in which we are engaging teachers with the resources that we have, so they may also use them and incorporate it into their lesson plans, syllabi, etc. We are also reaching out to after-school programs. We have already commitments from Literacy NYC and other community-based organizations that have the interest of literacy, education, betterment more generally at heart.
Thank you so much for sharing that with me. One final question is, how do you have any numbers to let us know how many partnerships or relationships you have within the community, within the district here? Because the public education, that's wide. I mean, that can be, uptown, downtown, could be the Bronx, it could be Queens, travel for good resources. How many established relationships are there within our district in East Harlem?
Right, like I said, we already have a working relationship with the Aguilar Branch. We already have a working relationship with a number of schools. I don't know how many, I'll be honest with you, I did not have those contacts because actually my colleague Rosa is the one that interacts more closely. She's our partnership coordinator. She works more closely with the schools. We have begun conversations with the 125th Street Library to the extent that, that library becomes in use again. So, we also have, our resources are also online. So we can provide a breakdown perhaps by, I think we could maybe able to do it by zip code of how many people have already made use of our resources. Say, for instance, the Cultural Ambassadors Program, to give you a sense of how many people from the community already make use of these resources.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And again, we also have many arts-oriented organizations, for instance, which also serve community educational outcomes. The Friends of Art Parks Alliance, we have been supportive of their efforts. They have been supportive of ours. East Harlem Tutorial, they have reached out to us to establish a connection with the community, focus more on the East Harlem community. So, we do have those connections. What we want to do with this initiative is to enhance those connections and broaden those connections.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Sure. Carlos, just two quick questions. Where is the Centro located at the Silverman building? Like what spaces are occupied, and what, how will that space change, if at all, as a result of this proposal?
Presently, we have two spaces in the Silverman building. Number one, if you know where the art gallery is located, in Silverman. We are toward our library and archives are towards the rear of that space. So we are on the main concourse, on the main corridor of the building, towards the back, near, just adjacent to the art gallery. That is where our library and archives are located. Then we have our research unit, which is located on the 8th floor of the building. So the idea is not only to utilize particularly the ground level where the library and archives are located, but also you know that there was a cafe located on the 3rd Avenue side of the building. We have received the commitment from the college to make use of that space, to make it more public facing, you know, since it is a public facing space already, to make it accessible to Centro for these community-based activities.
Excellent. Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions?
And thank you, Angel, for, you know, facilitating this meeting. You know, I know that there was a little bit of back and forth, so we really appreciate your good offices here.
My pleasure.
Yes, we're so lucky to have Angel as our district manager, but I don't know if he's going to stay with this committee when he hires his new staff. No, right? Anyway, are there any other questions? Any other thoughts, comments? Any ideas for a motion to support? Any members willing to support? Jason, you're not muted. Are you trying to speak?
Yeah, I can support.
Okay, so I have Jason who is indicated first. And John, are you second to write a letter of support for the funding?
Yes, sir.
So we have a motion made by Jason Wu to write a letter of support for Centro's funding to expand. Second by John Green. Angel, could you please do the roll call?
Certainly. Leroy Andino. Yolanda Brown.
Yes.
Angela.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
John.
Aye.
Robert.
Yes.
Jada's not here. Pat. Savasia's not here. Natasha.
Yeah.
Isaac.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Jason.
Yes.
Just one more time. Patricia. Okay, the motion carries.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you, Central. Thank you, Carlos, and thank you,
very
Rosa,
much.
for
Thank you very
wonderful
much.
presentations. And, you know, I also work for Children's Aid Society and run a community center at a PS 72.
Mhm.
So we definitely would love to make a connection with you as well. And how we
Absolutely, absolutely. One question, Mr. Chairman. I understand that the letter of support, you know, has just received the support of the Youth and the Education Committee. By the way, the Congressman's office tells me that their deadline is the 20th of this month. And I don't know exactly whether there be perhaps the executive committee could entertain the motion.
I will let Angel answer the official because I'll babble on and say yes, but I'll let Angel.
Yes, we can ask the chairman to add it to the executive committee agenda for ratification this Friday.
And if it's helpful, you know, I'll be happy to share the letter of support that Councilmember Ayala wrote.
That would be great. Yeah, if you could email that to me, that'll help expedite.
I will do that right away. Thank
Okay,
you very
great.
much.
And also our chair is on, so he's hearing your presentation as well firsthand. Do you have any questions, Xavier, that you would want to entertain if we were to entertain this on executive?
Hi, thank you so much, David. Very well run meeting, and yes, absolutely placed it on the agenda for executive this Friday at 11 a.m. We're supportive of our cultural institutions, but we should definitely take the right protocol and exercising that support as a board. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you on Friday at 11 a.m. for executive committee.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Friday? I thought it was Thursday.
Thank you.
No,
It moved. Just a quick reminder. It moved.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a quick reminder while I have everyone on the horn. State and District Needs didn't have anything on its agenda for this month, so EcoDev took that spot because we were unsure what was going to happen with open meetings law. And rather than force everyone to convene in person, as I tend to be very cautious with our health and safety, this is why I tried to reach as many of our executive committee as possible to say, hey, let's just knock it out by the 15th. And obviously we were extended, but this way we can go into the holiday week done and dusted with our work and see each other virtually, a full board, to then uphold the ratification of executive. Thank you, David. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Xavier. And thank you again. Central, continue to do the good work that you do. And we are very fortunate to have you in our community. So thank you again.
Appreciate it. Happy to help.
I want to really move to a wonderful initiative. It's came out of the East Harlem Consortium. It's been about a year. I first was introduced to Tiffany McFadden, who is leading the Tree Initiative. And it is, again, a wonderful opportunity similar to participatory budgeting, where we plan projects around community needs based on community input, based on community residents, based on the people that are affected the most by the decisions we all make. So Tiffany, again, sorry to keep you waiting, but please, the floor is yours. It's been great working and getting to know you. Please share.
Good evening. And again, thank you, David, and to the entire committee for the opportunity to do a brief presentation on the tree, and that the tree stands for Task Force on Racial Inclusion and Equity. And I am the neighborhood coordinator for this particular group. And I work with the steering committee, David being one of the members of that particular body. And I want to be able to just share a little, just a little bit of general information about the group, and then get into some nuggets of things that we're doing, and the ways that the work is emerging in a very equitable way, particularly around young people, their voices, their thoughts, their perspectives. So the East Harlem Task Force on Racial Inclusion and Equity is a subcommittee of the Human Services Consortium of East Harlem. We are gathering information from members of the East Harlem community in a variety of different ways so that we can come up with one or two high priority projects that we can work together on. I think it's reason to fill in some information here to let people know that two of the major projects that we're currently working on is a participatory budgeting process, and that was called the People's Money, where 523 people across 10029 and 10035 of East Harlem voted for the Tree group to put together a resource job fair. And so what we've been doing in addition to that is making sure to center the voices of young people as well. So the mayor's office has made some funding, and this is our former Mayor de Blasio, made some funding available to us to support these efforts. And we want to make sure that a lot of folks' voices are heard, including you all, so that East Harlem is choosing our focus. We have a series of questions that we've been asking different community members, just to be able to reflect on their perspectives and just come froms around what it's been like coming through this pandemic. Things that they've seen have changed just over the last 2 to 3 years, and being able to also just look at the community, not from a place of deficit, but most importantly, all the strengths that are still present. Even though we have this pandemic that has been pulling at our strengths and the things that keep us connected. And so aside from the participatory budgeting project that we are working on, we've actually conducted about anywhere between 6 to 7 focus groups one of those focus groups was held at Lexington Academy with a group of 8th graders. And it was in this space of discussing some of the questions that I just highlighted that one of the young people in the space said that if there was something that we could do within the next 6 months together to really highlight what young people were thinking. The young man's name is Jay, and he said that he thinks that we should put on a youth forum. And with that particular statement, I was able to dig in a little bit more with the young people and ask them, well, if you could put on a forum, who would the audience be? And the class erupted in a in a loud scream of adults. And so in this particular space, we have young people that they're energetic, they're enthusiastic, they have a lot of thoughts and feelings about things with regards to safety, with regards to the power dynamic and power differential between adults and them. They have a lot of thoughts about education. They have thoughts on ways to uphold and to keep intact their mental health. They have a lot of thoughts around social media. They have thoughts around bullying. And so in this space, there's a lot of goodness and just like I said before, a lot of energy that we want to tap into. I think it's also important to highlight before the steering committee even got to business, we had a lot of discussions around what we saw to be gaps in this understanding around equity and inclusion. And one of the themes that kept coming up was that young people are hardly ever present. And what role do we play in them not being present, not being present at some of the consortium meetings, not being present in all of these different task force and groups that are developed to bring about change and to make sure that communities are heard and communities are getting what they deserve, their due. And so in this space, I am currently working with them to organize and mobilize around this youth forum. And there are 26 dedicated young individuals that today they shared topics about how they would like to topics that they would like to present on at the youth forum. They haven't gotten to a place of really designing the run of show as of yet, but they are definitely in the space of knowing what they want to talk about. And so I'll say thank you for your time, and thank you, David, for the opportunity to highlight what the task force is doing.
No, I think this is very important. And thank you, Tiffany. It's been really wonderful working with you. And you know, coming into a school, Tiffany did really good. There was a few roughs. Our kids are very talented also. Who's coming into my space? But I think the fact that you got 23, 24, that number grew since 18, I heard the other day. So, you know, I think that also speaks to your interaction, the relationship you develop with them. And you know, I'll say this, it's so important for middle school kids, young teens that are turning to high school to stay connected to adults and to see that adults have value in their life and in their community. And not that they're not going to do some of the crazy things they do sometimes. I was one of those kids. But when they have an adult that mentors and stays with them, they stay grounded. They look at things in a greater perspective and have, like you said, Tiffany, what you said just hit my heart, because that's what I keep talking about. Young people need to be in this space. That's why I've worked with Natasha to get in this space. I'm working with another young lady, Brittany, to sit in this space, because I think I know what's good all the time for young people. But, you know, I didn't think texting was a good way to communicate, but I've learned new way of language and doing that as well. And I think, you know, the more we can create spaces for young people to interact, to speak to adults, not necessarily listen always to adults. That's our future, because we have to make strong leaders. And I think that's the work that you're doing. Tiffany does so much more when she's in that space with those kids. And I value that she's in the space with kids that I'm responsible and helping grow and develop. This tree project is wonderful, an opportunity. Again, I've sat in the meetings. We really worked hard. We have a great group of students and interns and members of the community, both individual that are really making and creating voices. We did a photography project that NIAM helped facilitate, and is going to be displayed in the community of how kids see themselves. And I'll share this. One of the kids said, you know, I have a nice park where I live in East Harlem, but many of the other parks that I see and take pictures of are not as nice as the one I have. So, you know, we talk about equity and difference, and, you know, there's a lot of inequity in our community that we must address. So I'm gonna go to John. And John, please, any question or comment?
Thank you, David. Ms. McFadden, thank you for your presentation. And I don't have a question, I just have a statement. I think it's a great idea, and I would like to be in on this, and I would like to be there to listen. That's all I really had to say. It sounds like something that's great that's going to come out of this.
They would love to hear that. I definitely will share that feedback. David, I just want to say one thing to this group, because I get the feeling that this is a space of Harlemites, people who have been dedicated to Harlem, and the people of this space. I want to share just a little bit of my story of where I grew up and how it led me back into this work. So I grew up in 1990 on 122nd and Lexington Avenue. And at the time that I was growing up there, I was a foster youth. I was there in a kinship foster home. And what the community then gave me was all of the things that I'm standing on now. What it taught me: integrity. It taught me the just the power of being connected to your neighbors, of looking out for your neighbors, of understanding the importance of stopping and hearing from young people. And all of those things I'm standing on today. It's one of the reasons why I'm back into this space. So I just want to share that, because I think not just when we mentor, but also when we touch young people, we don't know what those seeds then turn into, and how young people will dedicate and commit themselves to making sure that equity and goodness and just dedication and commitment to the work is done. So just wanted to share that with you all, and I appreciate the time that's been given.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. Reverend Brown, yes.
Yes, Ms. Tiffany, thank you so much. I smiled all through your presentation, because it just warms our heart, you know, to hear that not only do you have the background that feeds and fuels your passion, but you also have the know-how, and just hearing how you have actually made that connection. Because everything that we do in order to move things forward, it does require a connection at the emotional level, you know, not just the item agenda, but how do we connect emotionally? So I would love to continue hearing about what it is that you're doing and how it is that we can support either at the board, even at the individual level. So if you would put your contact information in the chat so that we can follow you as you follow the students, okay? Thank you so much for your presentation. I am so warmed, and, you know, thank you.
Thank you, Rev. And you know, I have to say, that's why I knew we had to bring Tiffany and this program into this space, because it is impacting the community on many different levels. And, you know, Tiffany's out there. It would be a NYCHA program or in Harlem, and one in East Harlem. She's running between them, one in the morning, one in the day. Always says, I could fit that in. So we do value. And again, it is important that voices in our community continue to mentor and help educate young people in our community. So thanks again, Tiffany. for your presentation tonight. I was going to go to Ms. Abreu, but I see she's on the phone, so we're going to wait again. But I also want to acknowledge Marcus Johnson is also doing some wonderful work in East Harlem, up in Wagner, and as there was also a mayor's initiative he was helping implement throughout the city. So we welcome you back in our space. Look forward to working with you again. I see we got Michael Clemens down on the bottom there too. We got the whole group up in here tonight. So Michael is also a colleague I work with at Children's Aid, but also in the community and works with the community navigators, ensuring that program is also out front with the community. So thank you, Michael, for being here as well and supporting. So as we continue on, unless there's any other questions, we will move forward. Please reach out. Please all participate in our resource job fair through the tree grant, but more important, in the youth forum that we're going to create to really create youth voices in our community. So we do have one more full presentation. We have our mentor, Miss Rachel Hunt, who's been patiently waiting over here on my first screen. We thank you for being here today. Mentoring is so important on so many levels. I think I said it before. Beginning in middle school, really to help solidify those adult positive relationships. And, you know, I've had many mentors, and I'm part of who I am by each of them. So, Rachel, thank you for being in our space tonight. I hand it over to you.
Thank you. And I just have to say, this has got to be one of the most moving education community board meetings I've attended. And I can just, you know, feel the passion and commitment with everyone here. So I'm really thrilled to be here tonight. Is it possible if I could share my screen? Just bear with me 1 minute while I get my PowerPoint up. A big shout out and thank you to Angel for giving me space to speak with you all tonight. My name is Rachel Hutt. I'm a senior volunteer mentor recruiter for iMentor. I'm just going to share a short presentation with you all tonight, and then there's going to be plenty of time for Q&A at the end. But I'm really excited to share with you all about how you could further get involved in making a difference in the life of a young person. So iMentor, we are a national college success organization, and we partner with schools in New York, Chicago, Oakland, and Baltimore. We actually started 23 years ago with 49 students at a school in the South Bronx, and now we serve over 9,000 students nationally. And when we partner with a school, we're really committing to ensuring that every student in our partner schools is paired in a one-on-one relationship with an adult. And the goal of that mentorship being that through that one-on-one relationship, our students are empowered to graduate from high school, apply to college, and succeed on a college campus and in their post-secondary career. iMentor exists precisely because our country has a history of systemic racial and socioeconomic inequity, and those inequities directly affect young people and their education outcomes, and that's why we're doing this work to try to bring about education equity. So a little bit about our students. 70% of iMentor students will be first-generation college students, meaning that their parent either did not finish college or did not attend college. And a little bit about the big picture and numbers. 98% of our students identify as students of color, and 70% of our students speak an additional language beyond English, Spanish being primarily the most spoken language outside of English. And wanting to share with you a little bit about our high school partners. So we partner with 13 DOE public high schools. Within Manhattan specifically, we have 5 partner high schools. And then I want to highlight one of our partner schools that is very near to Manhattan Community Board 11, which is Frederick Douglass Academy 2. So in all iMentor schools, we work with juniors and seniors in high school. So a little bit about FDA2. It's a college preparatory school, and FDA2 participates in the New Visions for Public Schools network and includes both a middle and high school that's located on different floors of the same building. FDA2 promotes the quote from Frederick Douglass that there is no progress without struggle. And this quote really embodies the attitude at FDA2. iMentor collaborates with 2 guidance counselors and NYU advising corps within the college office at FDA2. While a majority of our mentors have a 2 or 4-year college degree, it is not a mentor requirement to be in our program, as we do understand that there are adults with really various rich life experiences and other pathways that can be an excellent mentor to a student. So the one thing we do ask though, is that our mentors live or work within commutable distance. Obviously, I'm speaking about New York City tonight, so living and working within New York City area. We do sometimes have mentors from North New Jersey or Westchester. So as long as people can commute to their mentee's school 1 evening per month, that is totally fine. And we do ask that our mentors be at least 21 years of age to be a mentor in our program. And a little bit more about the mentoring experience. So we ask our mentors during the students' high school year to communicate with their mentee once a week on our iMentor platform. Our mentors and mentees meet together 1 evening per month at the mentee school, once again, also during the student school year. And then we have periodic mentor education, specifically around college counseling and diversity, equity, and inclusion trainings. So all of that equals a great impact in the life of a young person. So the mentoring commitment, it's a minimum of 2-year commitment. So our mentors are matched with students in their junior year of high school. And the whole idea is that mentor and mentee stay together through the student's junior and senior year of high school. But within that 2-year minimum commitment, the monthly ask is 2 to 4 hours per month. And we try to cap it at that amount of time because we know everyone are, busy working professionals, but we also want to make sure, right, we're making a great impact on the life of a young person. So the ask is roughly about 2 to 4 hours per month. And to give you all like a little bit more background, like where those mentor asks are coming from. So our iMentor students take an iMentor class once per week, and it is literally baked into their class day. And so the iMentor class, students learn both non-cognitive development skills as well as college knowledge and career exploration skills. So every class, students are taught a mini lesson. And then after the mini lesson, there is always a prompt or a question based on that week's curriculum that the student then writes their mentor. And then the student has the opportunity to read what their mentor wrote them the week prior based on last week's lesson. So that's where the mentor writing comes in. And then that weekly class, that the monthly event flows from the weekly class that the student takes. So monthly event topics can range from everything from, building a resume to finding a good summer job to, building a balanced college list, like things like that. And monthly events take place at the mentee school. There is always a free dinner provided for mentors and mentees. There's always collaborative icebreaker activities, and then a lot of opportunity for individual mentor-mentee pairs, both to bond and connect, and then work on that particular month's topic. We foresee it's been a real hit with our current mentors to have mentor education and diversity, equity, inclusion trainings be virtual. So we foresee that those trainings will continue to remain virtual in the fall. And if you're wondering, like, how can I get involved? The next step would be to attend a virtual mentor orientation and to fill out an online application. In just like a minute or two, I will put that link in the chat, but just for record, because I know this is being recorded, if you go to imentor.org/volunteer, that will take you directly to where you need to sign up for to attend a virtual mentor orientation and to fill out the mentor online application. I just want to share here, here's my contact information. Please feel free to send me any questions my way. And hopefully this presentation is getting you all excited and wanting to become a mentor with us. We just ask when filling out the mentor application, when it asks, where did you find out about iMentor? If you can write Manhattan Community Board 11, that's a real great help to us. That really just helps us track where our mentors are coming from. And then just to briefly share where we are in the mentor recruitment process. So we are actively recruiting 1,500 mentors, both men and women, to start a one-on-one mentorship with a student during the fall of 2022. And so while you all are contemplating your potential own involvement in our program, I also want to pitch, if you know of someone that you think would make a great mentor, whether that's a colleague, a friend, a family member, please refer them to us. We've got a lot of mentors to find to really support all the students. And I will send a follow-up email tomorrow with next steps. But I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment so that I can just quickly put in those two links that I was talking about. So the first link I'm putting in the chat, that will take you directly to the online application and to sign up for a virtual orientation. And then the second link is the refer a mentor link. And that is if you know of anyone that you think would be a great mentor. We love referrals. Yeah, I'll leave it at that and just ask if anyone has any questions.
Thank you, Rachel. Mentoring again is so important. And it's funny because the program you described is one when I ran a community center up the hill, we used to operate. Same concept. We called it Project Live, Project Live. And it was, we started in this concept at the site, doing kind of 12 to 15 kids, starting out with food shared together, do a group activity, and then break up into individual or small group things. We've just had challenges getting mentors. That's been really, like you said, they really would make the commitment to a young person at that time, which is so important. Are there questions from the board members? Again, if anybody can support or adopt a young person, what I would ask is maybe you explore, we have a superintendent, and sometimes, we have a high school here that could really benefit them, a local community high school.
Dave, your vocal is fading out. Can you say that one time?
Sorry, so I was saying that, we do have one of our own local high schools in this community, and, our superintendent is an active participant. Maybe there's a way when you're ready to expand to a new school, we can adopt one in East Harlem and make it a sister school to Frederick Douglass Academy. And, again, just continue the work and expand it. I always believe in this is a community that definitely could benefit from it. We have one high school that is a local high school as compared to city high schools that are city, all throughout the city. So we definitely would love to explore that. But anybody that's interested, I encourage you, take on a young person, be a mentor. It's so important for a young person to stay connected to adults. John, you had your hand raised. I know you've done a lot of mentoring yourself. Is there a question or comment, John?
Well, I have a comment. Thank you for the presentation tonight, and I wish you success in your recruitment of new mentors.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And it truly too, I will say, obviously you all are very community civic minded, like you're a part of a community board and you're already volunteering your time. So really, truly, like even if you yourself don't have capacity, but you know of someone that you think would make a great mentor, a lot of our recruitment efforts are really grassroots. And so even that referral can make a huge difference. So even if you yourself don't have time, you may know someone that would be a good mentor for us.
Rev, you have a question? I'm sorry.
Yes, thank you so much for your presentation, Ms. Rachel. It's just so awesome. I think of when I was a child, it was mentors who took me out of Brooklyn and showed me a pathway, college bound and everything else, so it's so important. One of my questions that I have for you, your mentees, they have to be students enrolled in your partnering schools, since most of your meetings are at school base at the site?
Yeah, great question, Yolanda. Yes, all of our mentees are part of our partner schools that we work with. But within those partner schools, we commit that every student that is a junior or senior in one of our partner high schools that wants a mentor gets one. So we are a whole school model. So we are not based on it's not just students that are near 4.0s that are getting mentors. A student with whatever GPA that wants a mentor gets one, because we believe that every student deserves a champion, and so that is our commitment. But it is based within the partner schools that we currently work with.
Okay, thank you. Now, what is the process for expanding partnership with other schools? What does that process look like?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of like as you potentially could imagine, it's a little bit of a collaboration dance. So we have her name is Annie Foreman. She is our director of school partnerships, and so sometimes schools will directly reach out to her, and then sometimes she will reach out to schools. A couple of different factors from iMentor's side that we look at. When we do expand to new schools, we look for decent attendance. I don't have a specific number necessarily, but just students that are at least there's some consistency there, just because we want our students to get the most out of the program, and we also want students to show up for mentors and mentors to show up for students. We typically work with schools that have a greater economic need. So they tend to be Title I high schools. And then we also look for schools that have a beginning college going culture, but could really kind of use that, for lack of a better word, really kind of use that oomph to get them over to really, expanding that. So for example, of our current 13 high school partners, only one of them is iMentor, the sole college counselor. In all the other schools, including Frederick Douglass Academy 2, which is near Manhattan Community Board 11, there already is a dedicated college counselor and or other nonprofits in the college office as well. So iMentor is an integral part of our partner schools' college offices, but we are a collaborator. And then of course, the mentors that come in, bring the national ratio for students to high school guidance counselor is 1 to 424. So then our mentors are really coming in there. I know it's really scary, David. And our mentors really come in there and bring that gap down to a 1-to-1 relationship.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Rachel. So that concludes our presentations, but we still want to get back to Ms. Abreu. And we also do have Marco Perez from the DA's office here. So we welcome you as well. Isabel, are you ready? Or we'll go to Marco and then we'll come back. Isabel's been working 2 meetings. So Marco, welcome.
Thank you, David. I appreciate it. Apologies for coming late. I too was at another meeting at the same time, so glad to just be here. As stated, my name is Marco Perez Jr. I work at the District Attorney's Office as the new East Harlem Community Engagement Coordinator. It is a pleasure to meet you all. There is 2 announcements I would like to bring before you all. The DA's office is partnering with the Office of New York State Attorney General, the Downstate Coalition for Crime Victims, and the Bronx District Attorney's Office for our 37th annual New York Crime Victims Candlelight Vigil. That will be held on April 24th, Sunday, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at West End Collegiate Church, which is located at 245 West 77th Street and West End Avenue. This is an opportunity for victims of violence and their families to express their grief in a cathartic way amongst a multiplicity of support systems that will be at the event. The second thing I would like to mention, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office is looking for 2 fellows to enter into their Gun Violence Prevention Fellowship Program. The deadline for this application is April 22nd. That is a Friday at 5 p.m. Essentially what the Gun Violence Prevention Fellowship is, it gives the opportunity for 2 fellows either in college or have a high school GED to work with us as a paid intern throughout the summer to provide ideas on what public safety should look like and manifest itself within the Manhattan DA's office through policy drafting. They will be working on this project all summer, being exposed to the different operations at the DA's office, being also exposed to the different concerns constituents have when it comes to violence and how to best address that, and eventually pitch that idea to the DA, and hopefully, that idea could be implemented within our great island. And that'd be it. That's the only 2 announcements I have. Again, it is a pleasure to meet you all, and I look forward to addressing public safety with you.
Thank you, Marco. Thank you for being here, and congratulations on your newly appointed role. We're gonna put you through the role because we was expecting to get some youth services, dating violence up in here. We want to see again if those programs will be continued. We were working on, I also work with Children's Aid Society and work with adolescents and younger kids, and we would love to explore if we were going to continue, the dating violence, and I believe they offered. So we would love to know if those programs will continue and how we can get access to them. And
yes.
Look forward to working with you.
I would definitely put my contact information in the chat. I look forward to collaborating with you all.
Quick question. In terms of the 2 fellows, would those be 2 from each community, or are they 2 citywide?
No, they would have to be 2 from Manhattan, either go to school in Manhattan or live in Manhattan.
Okay.
And affected by gun violence in some way or some form.
Thank you. I think you were at the East Harlem Consortium meeting.
Yes, I was.
Yeah, I got on a little late, but again, I look forward to working in that capacity as well. But our tree grant that's here, we may be able to identify some kids and through SAVE and some of our other organizations that have dealt with victims of violence.
Perfect. What I'll do is I'll drop my contact information in the chat, and we can get connected, David, just to get 2 fellows the amazing opportunity to address gun violence and make an impact on their lives.
Absolutely. Thank you, Marco.
Thank you.
Any questions for our newly appointed community rep from the DA's office? So you got big shoes to fill because everybody comes to this community. Y'all sit in many of our meetings, youth, public safety. So
David, I'm all about the big shoes. So this is
good.
That's good to be at.
Thank you. So, Mr. Brew, Isabel, do we have you? Or are you still in that other meeting? We need to see that space. I guess not, but we do again welcome Mr. Brew to this space and working with her new agency as the community liaison. And again, it's been a good partnership, and we look forward to continuing that partnership as well with Mr. Perez, our new DA representative. So, unless there are any questions, I think do we have to do district needs tonight, Angel, or are we all right?
You're the chair, Dave. That's whatever you say.
Well, I'd like to give a quick update. I mean, I know we submitted and voted last month. Anything to highlight, Rev Brown or Angel, in terms of our My battery's low.
I just wanted to add, well, the city council has already completed their review and they came out with the 18th statement. So that itself will have to then go into the mayor's office will review that and then create what they call the executive budget. At which time, there will be another review and they'll be open up for what would be the last opportunity or the final opportunity for community boards and residents to weigh in on the executive budget. And then after that, we will have the adopted budget. So right now, one of the things that we want to do as a committee, since we were looking at becoming more involved in that process, is to monthly at least give an update of what the process looks like. So right now, again, the council has already reviewed the recommendations and had their comments as it relates to the preliminary budget. And it's being reviewed. And at that time, they will have the executive budget and there'll be other opportunities for hearings to have, and then they'll move on. Keeping in mind that the budget process, if you don't know, and I'm learning as we go along, so trust me, I'm the first partaker of this information, is that the budget process itself is from July 1 through June. And so what happens is that there's ongoing process for the community board level, while at the council level, their job but as it relates to the budget, the process may be from February to May, let's say. The community boards engagement begins earlier on. In fact, immediately after the budget itself is finalized and approved, the community boards then get into action and begin looking at some of the things within their community and what they want to do. Because during the summer months, July and August, there's ongoing input as to what needs to happen come the fall of the year when the other city entities and offices are then actively engaged in the budget process. So we want to just be abreast with what's happening there so that it doesn't become an annual thing for us, but it is a monthly thing that each month we're going to touch upon it so it doesn't become burdensome. My experience has been that each time, whatever committee, not youth and education solely, but whatever committee I sat on, it seemed that when the budget came around, it was like, oh my God, there was a dread of doing it, maybe because of the time that it required, and realizing more and more how important that is to advocacy, that we need to become more involved in it. It doesn't mean that everyone has to be involved, but the more that we are aware of it, so we give a little update every month and talk about some things that need to happen, we may find more who will want to participate, and then it doesn't become such a burden, because it's something that we do have to address and pay attention to, because it gives us a stronger position for advocacy. So when we go to the agencies and we look at the response, and we can truly begin to advocate on behalf of our community, because we're keeping involved with the process. And we can go to those agencies that have jurisdiction over the things that we are requesting and we see a need for, and we can go in a place of strength. And one of the things that, and I'm going to say this in closing, because each month we're going to just give an update. One of the things that I like about the time that we've had for the last 2 years and the virtual environment, especially at the committee level, is that it gave us an opportunity to be more engaged, or all of us to be more engaged and hear from our community partners, hearing from the other stakeholders within the community. And by that being the case, I'm hearing even more when we have a CEC report or we have a partner report. When they give us the update, we can hear and see the areas of advocacy, and we can begin to ask for support from the budgetary level on that. So this is just FYI. I look forward to each month. We're going to share something as it relates to the budget process and its timeline. Keep it in mind, there are 3 phases to the budget process, and that's the preliminary budget, which is usually done, mid-January. Then there's the executive budget, which is the end of April, and then there's the adopted budget. That is the final budget in June, and July 1 that goes in effect, and it starts 13 months prior. But we're going to be ongoingly having some type of activity as it relates to the budget itself. And then there's other things that we're required to do. One of the beauties of it is that as a board, and I'm not sure if that's true of every other community board, but we have a statement and district needs committee. So it doesn't rest solely at the committee level, but we are in partnership and collaboration with the statement of district needs committee. And that helps us to shape what it is that we have going forward. So let's stay tuned and begin to, get engaged a little bit more with the process. Sometimes just knowing about what's happening and allow us to lessen the load. And also, it doesn't become as burdensome if we wait till the end of the year to address these things. Keep it in mind, budgetary issues are ongoing. I mean, it is in my home, so quite naturally it is in your home. So how much more is it at the city level or the state or even the national level? Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, thank you. I'll turn it back over to you, David.
Thank you, Rev. I got cut off for a minute, but I see we have Mr. Bruger and she's ready. So we look forward to hearing a little bit about your new position and your role. Thank you for being last but not least and making it right on time to be our last. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Isabel, your former liaison from the Member President's Office, and now here at Union Settlement as the Director of Community Outreach. And so excited to share with all of you. We continue having lots of programs for families. And I'm not going to overwhelm you and make the meeting longer because I'm going to be sending the flyers to Angel and he's going to share with all of you and the community. But tomorrow I do hope you can join us for a webinar that the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection and the New York City Commission on Human Rights are going to be facilitating. It's open to the public. We are hoping that our program participants are going to be able to join. The information is in the chat. And this is all about the changes to workers, domestic workers laws. And also to talk about people's rights to paid, safe, and sick leave. This is important because many of the constituents that we serve are not always aware of their rights. This is going to be done in Spanish. Hopefully in the future, we're going to be able to facilitate it in other languages. Please join us, share widely. It's going to be 2 presentations, 20 minutes each with time for Q&A and also to connect people directly to these agencies. So that's what it's all about, that they don't need me or Rosa or David or Angel, that the people have the power in their hands and they can, advocate and bring resources to the community and resources for themselves. So please reach out. I put my information in the chat earlier. I'm your neighbor here in East Harlem. So I'm here to support in anything you do from a professional and a personal level. Don't be a stranger. You can get rid of me, CB11. And that's it.
Thank you. And we're not trying to get rid of you. We're glad you're in this space still with us, still working in the community. And again, you pop up everywhere. So we will see you as we spread around East Harlem. Angel, did you want to say something? Yeah.
I get back from Gail. Gail Brewer, and I'm sorry, this is the last thing. Her husband said the other day, the difference between Gail and God is that God is everywhere and Gail is everywhere but home.
That is true. I used to live on the west side where Gail lived, right around the corner. So I never saw her there. I always saw her everywhere else. Angel, did you want to say something? Or
No, I was just giving a thumbs up to Isabel, but I did want to make an announcement at the end.
sure. The floor is yours, Angel.
Oh, okay. I neglected to mention earlier during announcements that Community Board 11 is co-sponsoring a commercial leasing post-eviction moratorium Know Your Rights event on April 19th, being led by the Legal Aid Society in partnership with Union Settlement, Uptown Grand Central, East Harlem working together, Harlem Park to Park. I don't want to leave anybody out. Community Board 10 and Community Board 12. That's again on April 19th at 2 p.m. There'll be folks on with, to answer questions about rental arrears for commercial spaces, negotiating leases, and so forth. We have the information available on our website and in our newsletter, and we've been promoting it on our social media platforms, and we'll be, continuing to promote those there until the day of the event.
Thank you, Angel. Thank you. Very important event. And that's going to be virtual, right? Not live.
Yes, it's via Zoom.
Right. So
Oh,
and
a thank you to Jason, who actually helped spearhead it.
Thank you all. And
Jason W, not Jason V.
No. So without further ado, unless there's any other quick announcements, we will take a motion to adjourn through a roll call vote. And thank you, everybody, for being in space today. Really great presentations. We're doing wonderful work. Look forward to continue to work with you all. Thank you, Angel. Go ahead.
Sure thing. Leroy is not here. Yolanda.
Present.
Angela.
Present.
David.
Present.
John.
Out.
Robert.
Present.
Patricia. Natasha.
Present.
Isaac. Thank you, Natasha.
Present.
Thank you. Russell.
Present.
And Jason.
Present.
Great. You have quorum.
Thank you. Thank you all. Rosa, I'll see you tomorrow, and CC. And all else, have a good month. Look forward to continuing the work. Thank you, Angel. Good night.
Yeah, good night.
Good night, everyone.